Topik ini akan dibawakan oleh Indonesia di konferensi tingkat tinggi G20. Kenapa sedemikian penting? Karena krisis iklim dialami oleh semua negara.
COP26 is the most important milestone since 2015, when the Paris Agreement was created. It's an opportunity for the world to see what has been achieved and pay attention to what hasn't.
At the COP26 Climate Pact in Glasgow, one of which is the world's ambitions to limit in the increase in the Earth's temperature to 1.5 Celsius degrees.
This target is aimed to be achieved in 5 years. Now, fast forward to 6 years later, 2021. Guess what happened? The target failed.
Kamu bisa bayangkan, ada 197 negara yang duduk bersama. Kerja kelompok di sekolah saja, kadang hanya satu orang yang benar-benar bekerja, apalagi 197 orang.
Dear G20 leaders, let's prove our climate commitments in COP26 as not only targets but also our core purposes.
So why is climate issue important for G20? It is essential to consider the climate issue since G20 members account for 80% of the greenhouse gas emission.
The fate of the younger generation in the future depends on the political decisions you make now. It's the younger generation who will bear the consequences of the choices that you do or don't do.
If invincible virus makes you work together so quickly, why does the very visible climate hazard slows you down?
Your Excellencies, we poor and developing countries are the front line of the direct impact of climate disasters. There is CO2 that must be neutralized from the atmosphere, toxic air pollution, lack of clean water, lack of food security, loss of living species, and still polluted seas.
Adapun ini adalah wilayah pertanian yang bergantung pada kondisi cuaca. Tidak heran bahwa Global Climate Risk Index menempatkan Indonesia di posisi ke-14 negara paling rentan terhadap perubahan iklim.
Indonesia ditargetkan mencapai net zero pada tahun 2060. Namun, rencana yang dicantumkan hanya mencapai tahun 2050. Lantas, apa yang akan dilakukan Indonesia dari tahun 2050 hingga 2060?
Maka untuk mencapai target iklim tersebut, Indonesia sebagai Presiden G20 perlu memastikan kesiapan negara-negara, termasuk Indonesia sendiri dalam proses transisi energi dari energi primer batu bara menuju energi baru dan terbarukan sebagai langkah dari mitigasi perubahan iklim.
Salah satunya dengan memperbarui NDC-nya yang lebih sesuai dengan target emisi global. Percayalah Pak, dunia ini makin panas. Coba sesekali Bapak keluar kantor jam 12 siang jalan kaki, supaya radar empati Bapak Ibu ini makin luas.
All stakeholders and leaders must take part on this issue. So, there will be no more similar problem happens in the future.
Di tengah inovasi dan penemuan teknologi untuk membantu menyerap karbon dengan cepat, kita lupa kalau pohon juga bagian dari teknologi berbasis alam yang dapat membantu kita menyerap karbon secara alami. Indonesia punya keunikan sekaligus keistimewaan sebagai negara yang hutannya sangat luas.
Climate awareness and climate consciousness must be raised for us, young generation. The climate change subject must be implemented through curriculum at every level of education.
Dear G20 leaders, please go beyond politics. Start working for the people. Prioritize our collective survival instead of profits of the few.
Dear G20 leaders, adanya pertemuan seperti ini tentunya sangat baik untuk bisa memperkuat kerjasama dan saling bersinergi dalam menurunkan emisi karbon secara global dan juga mempercepat transisi ke penggunaan energi bersih.
Jika hal ini terjadi, sebagai presidensi G20 tahun 2022 dapat terbilang sukses. Hal ini memang tidak mudah, pastinya ini menjadi tantangan yang berat bagi Indonesia. Tapi kita harus optimis, Indonesia negara yang besar, Indonesia pasti bisa.
Pergi ke Jakarta membeli abon, padi merunduk jadi panutan. Ayo segera tekan emisi karbon dengan energi hijau ramah lingkungan.
Perubahan iklim sudah tidak asing lagi bagi telinga kita. Bahkan PBB menyebutnya krisis iklim. Topik ini akan dibawakan oleh Indonesia di konferensi tingkat tinggi G20. Kenapa sedemikian penting? Karena krisis iklim dialami oleh semua negara.
COP26 is the most important milestone since 2015, when the Paris Agreement was created. It's an opportunity for the world to see what has been achieved and pay attention to what hasn't.
At the COP26 Climate Pact in Glasgow, one of which is the world's ambitions to limit in the increase in the Earth's temperature to 1.5 Celsius degrees.
This target is aimed to be achieved in 5 years. Now, fast forward to 6 years later, 2021. Guess what happened? The target failed.
Kamu bisa bayangkan, ada 197 negara yang duduk bersama. Kerja kelompok di sekolah saja, kadang hanya satu orang yang benar-benar bekerja, apalagi 197 orang.
Dear G20 leaders, let's prove our climate commitments in COP26 as not only targets but also our core purposes.
So why is climate issue important for G20? It is essential to consider the climate issue since G20 members account for 80% of the greenhouse gas emission.
The fate of the younger generation in the future depends on the political decisions you make now. It's the younger generation who will bear the consequences of the choices that you do or don't do.
If invincible virus makes you work together so quickly, why does the very visible climate hazard slows you down?
Your Excellencies, we poor and developing countries are the front line of the direct impact of climate disasters. There is CO2 that must be neutralized from the atmosphere, toxic air pollution, lack of clean water, lack of food security, loss of living species, and still polluted seas.
Adapun ini adalah wilayah pertanian yang bergantung pada kondisi cuaca. Tidak heran bahwa Global Climate Risk Index menempatkan Indonesia di posisi ke-14 negara paling rentan terhadap perubahan iklim.
Indonesia ditargetkan mencapai net zero pada tahun 2060. Namun, rencana yang dicantumkan hanya mencapai tahun 2050. Lantas, apa yang akan dilakukan Indonesia dari tahun 2050 hingga 2060?
Maka untuk mencapai target iklim tersebut, Indonesia sebagai Presiden G20 perlu memastikan kesiapan negara-negara, termasuk Indonesia sendiri dalam proses transisi energi dari energi primer batu bara menuju energi baru dan terbarukan sebagai langkah dari mitigasi perubahan iklim.
Salah satunya dengan memperbarui NDC-nya yang lebih sesuai dengan target emisi global. Percayalah Pak, dunia ini makin panas. Coba sesekali Bapak keluar kantor jam 12 siang jalan kaki, supaya radar empati Bapak Ibu ini makin luas.
All stakeholders and leaders must take part on this issue. So, there will be no more similar problem happens in the future.
Di tengah inovasi dan penemuan teknologi untuk membantu menyerap karbon dengan cepat, kita lupa kalau pohon juga bagian dari teknologi berbasis alam yang dapat membantu kita menyerap karbon secara alami. Indonesia punya keunikan sekaligus keistimewaan sebagai negara yang hutannya sangat luas.
Climate awareness and climate consciousness must be raised for us, young generation. The climate change subject must be implemented to curriculum at every level of education.
Dear G20 leaders, please go beyond politics. Start working for the people. Prioritize our collective survival instead of profits of the few.
Dear G20 leaders, adanya pertemuan seperti ini tentunya sangat baik untuk bisa memperkuat kerjasama dan saling bersinergi dalam menurunkan emisi karbon secara global dan juga mempercepat transisi ke penggunaan energi bersih.
Jika hal ini terjadi, sebagai presidensi G20 tahun 2022 dapat terbilang sukses. Hal ini memang tidak mudah, pastinya ini menjadi tantangan yang berat bagi Indonesia. Tapi kita harus optimis, Indonesia negara yang besar, Indonesia pasti bisa.
Pergi ke Jakarta membeli abon, padi merunduk jadi panutan. Ayo segera tekan emisi karbon dengan energi hijau ramah lingkungan.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the winners ceremony of the Dear G20 Leaders video competition. Foreign Policy Community of Indonesia and the British Embassy in Jakarta are in cooperation once again to bring you the Dear G20 Leaders competition, which focus on the theme COP26 outcomes and what's next for the G20 summit. In light of this year's theme, each video submission features observations, analysis, and recommendations on Indonesia's climate commitments made at the COP26 in relation to Indonesia's presidency at G20. We received so many creative videos ranging from speech, animations, infographics, songs, and even raps. Before we move on, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our distinguished guest here today. We have here with us Ambassador of the United Kingdom to Indonesia, His Excellency Owen Jenkins, Director of the Climate Reality Project Indonesia, Dr. Amanda Katilin-Niode, and also the founder and chairman of Foreign Policy Community of Indonesia, Dr. Dinopati Jalal. Welcome. And of course, we would like to give a warm welcome to our top 21 finalists of the Dear G20 Leaders video competition. Thank you for taking part and for your outstanding submissions that we have all enjoyed. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dear G20 Leaders video competition was launched last month on February 21st, announced to FPCI and the UK Embassy's networks. Submissions were open for 1 month until March 24th, and with the deadline being extended due to the high enthusiasm from all participants. And in total, we ended up receiving 222 videos overall. After a thorough and very difficult judging process from FPCI and the British Embassy, we have finally selected the top 21 finalists, who are the people we see here today. So congratulations to all of you and to the rest of the 200 submission videos who didn't make it to the final. Please know that all the videos were also creative, and know that your efforts do not go to waste, because all of your videos were already a great effort. They contribute to the climate action movement on social media and surely has raised awareness on climate change issues. So before we move on, ladies and gentlemen, please watch the video that we will play after this. It's from the FPCI Climate Unit. So please enjoy. Okay, so that was a video presented by FPCI Climate Unit. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you were all excited for the winners announcement, and today we will be announcing the 6 third prize winners, 3 second prize winners, and 1 fan favorite winner, as well as the grand prize winner. But before we move on to the announcements, we would like to welcome the British Ambassador to Indonesia, His Excellency Owen Jenkins, to give his opening remarks. Ambassador Jenkins, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much indeed, Jenny, and thank you for the invitation to be here today. It's fantastic to be here with FPCI colleagues and all of the wonderful entrants and top 21 video makers in this competition. And let me first of all just thank the colleagues at FPCI for their terrific work with us on this project. Pak Dino, as always, it's been wonderful to work with you. Mbak Esther Tamara, Cindy, you've all done fantastic work. Thank you so much for your contributions. And let me also thank Ibu Dr. Amanda Katili Niode. We're very grateful to have you with us today as one of Indonesia's longest standing and greatest climate champions, as well as one of the best engagers of youth. The videos we're going to see today, and all of the 222 videos which were made, were genuinely terrific. They shared great perspectives, amazing thinking. They demonstrated real technical skill in the video making. They were such impressive videos that we had a really tough time narrowing down from 222 to 21, and then to today's announcement of the top 10. There are so many great videos which didn't make the final cut. And as Jenny said, please don't think that was wasted work. They were amazing videos. They will go to great use. And congratulations to those who didn't make it through to the final. You committed yourselves, did a wonderful job. And the quality and the impressive nature of these videos really re-inspired my faith in the young people of Indonesia as the future of this amazing country. Famously, over 50% of the country's population is under the age of 30. And what shone through in the videos was the particular strengths of young people, the flexible thinking which young people have, the focus on the best possible outcomes, not just settling for something which is tolerable. The focus on solutions. Young people are genuinely solutions orientated, and that's more needed than ever in our climate changing world. And you believe that transformational change is possible. And that has to be true if we're going to face this systemic global challenge of climate change. And for all of those reasons, your voices are incredibly important, particularly on climate change, where your generation is the generation which will be most affected, which has most at stake. That gives you powerful moral authority, and that shone through in the videos as well. And that's what this project was designed to do, and that's why the British Embassy was so keen to support it, so that you can express your hopes for Indonesia, and Indonesia as the chair of the G20, to address the world's most important challenge, which is climate change. And right now, the world is heading for disaster. The Glasgow Climate Pact, agreed in the UK in November, kept the hope of limiting global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees alive, but only just, and only if it's properly implemented. Without that, it's just words on a page. As we've seen before, every country has to implement what they committed to. They have to come back and strengthen their commitments in their 2030 targets. They have to bring forward their net zero targets where they can, so that we all hit net zero as close to 2050 as possible. The Paris goal agreed that we would try and keep global warming to 1.5 degrees if at all possible. We already have 1.1 degrees of global temperature rise, and we have more locked in. We're already experiencing extreme heat, increased flooding, more frequent, more extreme weather events, and that will increase exponentially with every degree that we have. 1.5 degrees will already be worse than what we have now, but 1.6, 1.8, 2 degrees, let alone 3 degrees or 4 degrees, will be catastrophically worse. So time is short. The call is urgent. We hope that with the videos that you've made, we will help to educate the population. I hope you've educated your friends, your family, and we hope that your voices will be heard as we reach out on the G20 agenda, addressing directly the G20 leaders to do what they need to do to address this huge climate change challenge. Thank you for your enthusiasm. Thank you for your passion for this important topic. And thank you for engaging in this competition. Terima kasih banyak.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Jenkins, for your wonderful remark. Now we would like to invite the founder and chairman of Foreign Policy Community of Indonesia, Dr. Dino Patijalal, to give his opening remark. Dr. Dino, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jen, and thank you, Ambassador Owen Jenkins, for your remarks, and also thank you for Ibu Amanda Katili, who will be making remarks after each video. I want to tell you about the latest salam. It's called Salam Iklim, which is like this, right? What is that? Salam Iklim is 1.5 degrees, right? So let's make this happen everywhere. Look, I've been watching all the videos that were sent from all the participants, and Ambassador Owen is very right. They're all very good. Unfortunately, like the Indonesian Idol or like Britain's Got Talent, you only have a few winners that you can select. And I'm just so proud to see the good quality of work, but also the intelligence and the spirit, and how much the youth really care about the climate issue. And the videos come from all over Indonesia, from Jakarta, Java, from Sumatra, Bali, Nusa Tenggara, Kalimantan, everywhere, and people of all ages. And the arguments they pose are very convincing. So I'm really, really proud, because what this means is the youth have ownership of the climate future. And we still have a long way to go. I think the climate consciousness among the young people is something that we really need to push, because it's not there yet. The youth now care more about plastics because they know about it more than they do at the moment about the climate risks that will become their future, right? So I think we are making a good start, making the young people develop a strong sense of climate consciousness. And I hope that when there will be polls in the future asking what is the number one issue that you care most about, right? Perhaps number one answer will still be jobs, right? But I hope number one or number two will be the climate, right? Because look, 2050 is a long way, one generation away. I don't think I'll be around by then, or if I am, I'll be in wheelchair. But all of you will be in your peak life. Yeah, you'll be ministers, directors, CEOs. You will be at your most productive life. And the kind of world, environment, climate that you live in will determine the quality of life that you will live in, right? So it's very important that you are part of the struggle and you have full ownership of the struggle. I think what you need to understand is, if you want to live in a world of climate security, which is 1.5 degrees, as Ambassador Owen mentioned, the next 10 years matters the most, right? You can't say, hey, we're going to reach that 1.5 degree world, but we start work in 2040 or 2045. It doesn't work that way. To reach that carbon budget, to use the carbon budget that we have now, the next 10 years is critical, right? And we're already at 2022. So we got 7-8 years to go to get things right. Hopefully reduce global emissions by 50% by 2030. So thank you, all the participants, for inspiring us with your videos. I hope the adults will see this video and will become inspired. The politicians, the leaders, the parliamentarians, people across Indonesia will see these videos and again become part of this big movement to secure our climate future. Again, thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing the videos and to hear the announcement of the top 10 winners. Yeah, top 21. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dino, for your remark. Now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us start with the announcement for the third winner category. So there are 6 winners for this category. Will receive Let us proceed, ladies and gentlemen. I will announce one by one. The third prize winners are, let us pretend that there is a drum roll here. Abdul Wahid Shafau Zadi. Congratulations, Abdul Wahid. Move on to the second winner, still in the same category. Third prize winners goes to Akbar Fernando Dabung. Congratulations, Akbar Fernando. Move on to the third winner, still on the third prize winners category. It goes to Albert Taruno. Congratulations, Albert Taruno. Okay, now we move on to the fourth person, still in the same category. Third prize winner goes to Enta Fadila. Congratulations, Enta Fadila. Okay, last two winners of the third prize winners. It goes to Hari Permana Pangestu. Congratulations to Hari Permana Pangestu. Last but not least, the last winner of the third prize winner goes to Muhammad Raka Hadian. Congratulations, Raka. Okay, congratulations to all the third prize winners. Now we move on to our second prize winner. There will be 3 winners, and each winner will receive a cash prize of 7 million rupiah. Let's just proceed. The second prize winners goes to Constanza Viveka Tanoyo. Congratulations, Constanza.
Yeah.
We hear an excitement from Dr. Dina. Yeah, it goes to Fahri Ali. Congratulations, Fahri Ali. Last but not least, still on the second prize winner, it goes to Muhammad Salahuddin Al Ayubi. Congratulations, Salahuddin. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, for our fan favorite winner who have gathered the most likes on their submission video on our Instagram page at FPC Indo. And this winner of the fan favorite contest will receive a cash prize of 10 million rupiah. So without further ado, as for 2 p.m. today, this winner gathered 1,690 likes and also 4,498 views on their video. Let us just announce her. The winner goes to Ana Evita Mareta Panjaitan.
Yay!
Congratulations, Ana.
Yay! Ana.
Let us give a round of applause. We have the Zoom feature here. Yeah. Okay. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, what you have been all waiting for, the grand prize winner, who will receive a cash prize of 15 million rupiah. Drum roll. Let's just pretend there's a drum roll. Okay. I got my team doing the drum roll. The grand prize winner goes to Gustomi Sutioso.
Yeah, Gustomi.
Congratulations, Gustomi.
Yeah.
You look surprised. Looking at the expression. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to all of our winners and thank you for joining the competition. This goes to the rest of the finalists as well who didn't make it into the top 10. Thank you for joining the competition and we hope you enjoyed learning deeper, researching about the climate issue and spreading awareness through this competition basically. And for the other finalists, you will still receive certificates from the team. And again, your effort is not a waste. It is still contributing to raise awareness on climate change issues through our social media platform, through your social media platform. And surely it has been spread out by the audience as well. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now take a look at the top 5 winning videos, the second prize videos, fan favorite winner video, and the grand prize winner video as well. And we all must be very excited to watch. They are very great videos. So now, as we are having the video showcase, in each video, there will be a commentary by Dr. Amanda Katili Niode, who is a climate reality leader trained by former US Vice President Al Gore and the Climate Reality Project to mainstream the climate crisis, and has supported the work of more than 300 climate leaders in Indonesia. Many of those are young people. Yeah, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here are the videos, so please enjoy.
Dear G20 leaders, I'm Constanza, a 7-year-old girl from Indonesia. First, have you ever felt that the weather is very, very hot? Well, I do.
One day when I do my online school, I feel that the weather is very, very hot until I cannot concentrate to my teacher at all.
Next question. Have you ever felt severe storms and heavy rain? At my town, recently, there are severe storms that make the big trees fall. Oh, that's terrible. And there's lots of heavy rain too. And that become a big question. Why does this happen? My mom said, yeah, it's because climate change. Then I wonder, what is climate change?
I start to observe about climate change, its effect, and understand how it relates to global warming.
When I know more about the global warming's effect, it makes me frustrated. It's really a nightmare for us, for my generation, for the next generation, because the planet is our only home. If we don't take action, what will happen to our home? I'm glad when I searched more and found out about COP26.
COP26 is UN climate change conference that held in Glasgow at 2021. COP26 have 3 priorities. 1. Adaptation, adapting to life in a changing climate. 2. Mitigation, reducing climate change. And the last is climate financing, to support developing countries for mitigation and adaptation projects.
After COP26, we go to G20.
G20 is a forum comprising 19 who works to address major issues related to the global economy.
The good news is Indonesia become G20 presidency this year. This is a time not just to make a story, but a history.
Based on Paris Agreement 2015, Indonesia commit to reduce greenhouse gas emission by 29% independently and 41% with international assistance. After 7 years since it's made, this target still stuck in the same level, even though the Paris Agreement clearly mandates all countries must continue to increase the target. Indonesia can lead by example by setting ambitious emissions reduction targets. It will drive other G20 countries to do the same and make significant change at climate crisis. Construction of solar panel energy as a renewable energy should keep improving to reduce coal consumption.
Climate awareness and climate consciousness must be raised for us, young generation. The climate change subject must be implemented to curriculum at every level of education. Not only a theory to make young generation climate literate, but a real project to build climate-friendly culture. Make an annual competition to encourage young generation to make a green and climate-friendly invention that will raise more green scientists, more green inventors, and more climate activists.
By the time I joined this competition, I just know about climate change issue. I just know that solar complex in Morocco supplies up to 2 million people and that solar power is now the cheapest electricity in history.
I just know about all of it, and I'm very excited to change into climate-friendly lifestyle. Imagine if all of students, young generation are climate literate and have a climate consciousness. Dear G20 leaders, we expect you to make a great decision to save our planet. And let us, young generation, be your partner to recover together, recover stronger.
So that was the video for the second prize winner. We will still have another 2 for this category, but before that, Dr. Amanda, you will have the floor to give a quick commentary. Dr. Amanda, you may have the floor.
Constanza, you are awesome. Let's all again give a big round of applause to Constanza. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, youth, 1 billion children, half of all children globally are at extremely high risk of climate impacts. Now that Constanza gave her views on climate change on G20 and on COP26, it is about right, because she's also involving or suggesting climate-friendly lifestyle, because uprooted children are among the most exposed with the least resources that they can cope. And Constanza also showed that storytelling is very important. She's showing information and emotion which will affect people to act. And she's also involving family. And one important aspect that she mentioned is she's differentiating about global warming and climate change. They're not the same. Increasing temperature is just one part of climate change. So thank you so much, Constanza, for your excellent and comprehensive research. And let's all again also become climate activists.
Thank you, Dr. Amanda. Now let us play the second video.
Angin kencang.
Banjir menyeret mobil yang
Warga terpaksa harus
kemarau dengan hari.
Iya, memang betul. Bencana-bencana tadi sudah dan masih akan terus terjadi akibat perubahan iklim yang kita sebabkan. Tapi jangan patah semangat, karena harapan masih ada. Paris Agreement adalah sebuah peristiwa monumental di mana 196 negara dan bangsa menandatangani kesepakatan untuk membatasi pemanasan global di angka 2 derajat Celcius. Bahkan, diusahakan untuk tidak melewati 1,5 derajat Celcius. Kesepakatan ini sangat berpengaruh karena bersifat mengikat secara hukum. Setiap negara diwajibkan untuk menyusun Nationally Determined Contribution atau NDC. NDC berisi strategi dan langkah-langkah yang akan dilakukan sebuah negara untuk mencapai tujuan tersebut. NDC ini memiliki 3 agenda utama, yaitu mitigasi, adaptasi, dan finansial. Mitigasi berarti mengurangi aktivitas yang berdampak negatif pada iklim dan memperbaiki kerusakan yang sudah terjadi. Adaptasi berarti beradaptasi dengan kondisi iklim yang terus berubah. Lalu finansial berarti memberikan bantuan finansial kepada masyarakat dan negara yang rentan agar mereka mampu beradaptasi dan bergabung dalam upaya mitigasi perubahan iklim. Sayangnya, setiap negara bebas menentukan NDC-nya masing-masing dan sifatnya tidak mengikat secara hukum. Pada ajang COP26 yang diadakan di Inggris kemarin, banyak negara merilis pembaruan terhadap NDC mereka, termasuk Indonesia. Pembaruan NDC ini bersifat kritis, karena berdasarkan studi terbaru, pun jika NDC yang diumumkan pada Paris Agreement berhasil diterapkan, bumi masih akan mengalami kenaikan suhu sebesar 3 derajat Celcius, atau 1,5 kali lipat dibanding yang kita inginkan. Nah, bagaimana dengan Indonesia? Indonesia berkomitmen untuk mengurangi tingkat emisi sebesar 29% pada tahun 2030, atau naik 4% dibanding komitmen sebelumnya. Namun, jika Indonesia berhasil mengamankan bantuan dari komunitas internasional, Indonesia berkomitmen untuk melakukan pengurangan emisi sebesar 41% pada tahun 2030. Dan kamu tahu tidak, pada tahun 2022 ini, Indonesia berperan sebagai Presiden G20. Negara-negara G20 bertanggung jawab atas 80% emisi global dan 85% dari GDP global. G20 memiliki tanggung jawab, dorongan ekonomi, dan kemampuan untuk mewujudkannya. Pertanyaannya, apakah mereka bersedia melakukannya? Sebagai Presiden G20, Indonesia memiliki kesempatan besar untuk memberikan contoh pada dunia dalam menghadapi perubahan iklim. Umumkan dan tunjukkan komitmen Indonesia sebagai sebuah bangsa yang besar dan bertanggung jawab terhadap bumi. Kepada pemerintah Indonesia, ada beberapa hal yang sebaiknya kita lakukan. Pertama, memperjelas roadmap Indonesia dalam mencapai target net zero. Indonesia ditargetkan mencapai net zero pada tahun 2060. Namun, rencana yang dicantumkan hanya mencapai tahun 2050. Lantas, apa yang akan dilakukan Indonesia dari tahun 2050 hingga 2060? Kedua, meningkatkan target bauran energi terbarukan. Indonesia menargetkan komposisi energi terbarukan sebesar 23% di tahun 2025 dan 31% di tahun 2050. Padahal, dengan terus menurunnya harga energi terbarukan, Indonesia harusnya mampu mencapai target net zero di tahun 2045 dengan biaya pembangkitan listrik dan biaya investasi yang jauh lebih rendah dibanding mempertahankan PLTU batubara yang ada. Lalu dengan penerapan bertahap pajak karbon pada produk ekspor Indonesia, minimnya bauran energi terbarukan akan berdampak buruk pada kemampuan produk Indonesia untuk bersaing di pasar global. Ketiga, mengatasi masalah intermitensi energi dengan teknologi penyimpanan energi. Indonesia memperpanjang masa penggunaan PLTU dengan alasan energi berbasis surya dan terbarukan lainnya cenderung tidak stabil karena bergantung pada cuaca dan faktor lainnya. Dan hal ini dapat merusak sistem distribusi listrik yang ada. Padahal, masalah ini dapat diatasi dengan penggunaan inovasi teknologi di bidang penyimpanan energi, seperti pump hydro, baterai, dan compressed air storage. Maka, mari pemerintah Indonesia bersama kita tunjukkan pada dunia bahwa Indonesia bisa, Indonesia hebat.
Dr. Amanda, you may have the floor.
Powerful information, Fahri. Congratulations. Again, let's give a big round of applause to Fahri. You started with disasters, which is the most important information to convince people to do climate actions. Because in 2020, there were 30 million people globally who were displaced because of climate impacts, mostly extreme weather events. In Indonesia alone, 7.6 million people were displaced last year, also because of climate-related impacts. So congratulations on that, but not only the disasters, not only the scary things, you also mentioned the hope and also ways that the government can do and also non-government organizations can do to alleviate the problems. And NDC is also right now the most important point, the nationally determined contribution. I'm glad that young people talk about nationally determined contribution because not everybody would like to do lots of research on it, but you did it well. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Dr. Amanda. Now let us go to the next video.
The report says global average temperature rise could reach or exceed.
Even trying to speak to you
over the next century, over this century.
Icily hot, melting faster than many creators behind the project say all hope is not lost.
People are ready for change. We want change. We demand change. And we are the change.
This climate change happened due to the increase in the average geothermal temperature of 1.1 Celsius degrees above pre-industrial level. According to Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, this situation will worsen as the increase is predicted to reach 4.4 Celsius degrees by 2100 and absolutely will have a negative impact on our world. However, we can still prevent these situations together. According to the data from the United Nations, around 75 to 80% of global energy has been used by G20 member countries. Thus, it is certainly an encouragement to all countries to work and commit together on providing solutions and taking actions for adaptation, mitigations, and budget planning to the issue of world climate change. These commitments have been written and agreed upon at the COP26 Climate Pact in Glasgow, one of which is the world's ambitions to limit in the increase in the Earth's temperature to 1.5 Celsius degrees. In addition, United States of America, United Kingdom, European Union, and many other developed countries are committed together to providing funds for the renewable energy transformation as the real actions to overcome the issue of climate change. As the host of G20 Presidency 2022, Indonesia must play a big role to encourage other G20 member countries to carry out their commitment and work together to achieve the goals of Climate Pact, including the world's ambitions to reduce the Earth's temperature to the limit of 1.5 Celsius degree. One of Indonesia's contributions is to make sustainable energy transition as the priority issue in the G20 presidency. To achieve that, Indonesia is committed to setting an energy mix target of 23 new and renewable energy by 2025, fulfilling net zero emissions in 2060, the reductions and elimination of the use of steam power plants, as well as the application of a carbon tax and carbon capture, usage and storage. The effort of Indonesia will never be succeed without the strong commitment and collaboration among countries. Hence, I believe that climate change is a collective issue. It's not just a developed country issue nor just one single country responsibility. It is our responsibility. Therefore, I call upon all the world leaders to come together and commit to actualize and achieve sustainable energy transitions to make a better world and better future for our next generation.
Dr. Amanda, you may have the floor.
Outstanding, Solahuddin. Big applause again for Solahuddin. You put the word change in the beginning, and that's very important to address the climate crisis. There are 3 questions that we have to answer. First, should we change? Second, can we change? And third, will we change? And you have all the information, all the answers to the 3 questions in your video clip. Also, you mentioned about the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. There are 2 international organizations working on climate change issues under UN. First is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change that you mentioned. That's the scientific arena. And the second one is the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. That's the political arena where COP26 was held in Glasgow. I was in Glasgow myself. But you also mentioned about Indonesia and G20, especially because we have 3 missions with the G20. First is the health architecture, second is the digital transformation, and third is the sustainable energy. And you touch upon all 3, or at least Indonesia presidency mission. Again, congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Amanda. Now we move on to the next video.
Intense drought, scorching heat waves, hazardous pollutions. These are just the tip of the climate change iceberg. So, are we gonna survive or decry? Hi, my name is Anna Panjaitan, and today I will start a conversation on Indonesia's G20 presidency on battling climate change. Last year, in November, COP26 was held in Glasgow. COP, which stands for the Conference of the Parties, is a global climate summit which aims to tackle climate change. This summit is very important. Why is it important? To answer this question, let's go back to the year 2015, where COP21 gave birth to the Paris Agreement. Initially, this agreement sparks a glimmer of hope because for the first time, almost every country agreed to keep global warming at 1.5 degrees Celsius. This target is aimed to be achieved in 5 years. Now, fast forward to 6 years later, 2021. Guess what happened? The target failed. In fact, global warming has actually worsened to 4 degrees Celsius. Basically, the whole world is responsible for the failure of the Paris Agreement. But the G20 countries is the biggest culprit of this failure. Why? Because the majority of the largest emitters are in the G20 countries, including Indonesia. Us, along with other G20 countries, are accountable for almost 80% of the global emission. But amidst failure, there is a hope. This year, in 2022, Indonesia officially holds the G20 presidency for a year. This is a stepping stone for us to fix our failures. In accordance with the COP26 main agenda, which is to achieve net zero emissions by 2050, there are 3 steps that we can do. First is mitigation through local potential. Indonesia is known for its various local wisdoms. This can aid us to reduce global warming. For example, the government, through programs like Sekolah Lapangan Berbasis Kearifan Lokal, can educate farmers on the principles of sustainable agriculture. Through local empowerments like this, Indonesia can inspire other G20 countries that mitigation efforts can simply start by harnessing local potential. Next is the adaptation through lifestyle. phasing out coal, investing in clean energy, and other Go Green campaigns such as switching to public transportation, reducing plastic consumption, and saving energy should always be intensified by the governments. Lastly, climate financing. It is important for Indonesia to include private sectors. Through environmental law instruments, we can regulate funding obligations for the private sectors. Hence, funding for environmental conservation is not just an option, but an obligation that the private sectors shall comply with. Climate change is not a trivial issue. Cooperation between the government, the private sector, and the people is very crucial to achieve the net zero emission target by 2050. Through climate action breakthroughs, Indonesia can inspire other G20 countries and the rest of the world.
Dr. Amanda, you may have the floor.
Impressive, Anna. Congratulations. You were able to mention Paris Agreement as well, the history from Paris Agreement and then up to G20. And the way you express the information, it reminds me of the three brains. You know that neurologists said that human actually has three brains: the head brain with logic, the heart brain with emotion, and the gut brain with your guts for action. So it looks like you are showing all those in alignment. Your three brains are in alignment. But it is also important that you mention local wisdom, which is very much appreciated. We cannot talk about climate change just talking about the polar bear without talking about our local situation. That will make people take climate action. And then, of course, the lifestyle should be based on local wisdom as well. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Dr. Amanda. And now the last video to watch, we are going to show the grand prize winner video by Gustomi Sutioso. Please enjoy.
Presidensi G20 memiliki peran yang sangat signifikan. Dalam catatan sejarah, G20 pernah sukses mengatasi krisis keuangan global pada tahun 2008. G20 menjadi momentum yang sangat penting untuk sebuah perubahan, tak terkecuali perubahan iklim. Di Indonesia sendiri, komitmen perubahan iklim dalam NDC-nya belum berada di jalur yang sesuai untuk memenuhi target batasan suhu global. Tapi kita harus percaya bahwa harapan akan selalu hadir untuk mereka yang mempercayai perubahan. Untuk itu, saya selaku peserta kompetisi video G20 Leaders, mohon izin untuk memberikan rekomendasi terkait solusi agenda iklim Indonesia selanjutnya pasca COP26. Karena sebagai tuan rumah G20, Indonesia perlu menunjukkan contoh yang baik dan ambisi yang tinggi dalam isu perubahan iklim. Yang pertama pada sektor adaptasi. Mengingat kita sangat rentan terhadap kenaikan permukaan laut, pemerintah perlu memperbarui sistem informasi data kerentanan iklim nasional di situs dijen.ppi.menlhk.go.id. Jadi nanti masyarakat kita bisa lebih mampu dan siap terhadap adaptasi iklim. Ini akan sangat mengurangi dampak perubahan iklim terhadap kerugian PDB nasional. Yang kedua, sektor mitigasi. Ini menurut saya darurat, Pak, mengingat peringkat kita dalam CAT 2021 berstatus sangat tidak memadai dalam target emisi global. Jadi semoga bisa segera diperbarui. Angka 29% justru akan berkontribusi pada peningkatan emisi hingga sekitar 1.817 juta ton CO2 ekuivalen pada tahun 2030. Padahal agar tetap di bawah batas suhu 1,5 derajat Celcius, emisi Indonesia tahun 2030 harus sekitar 461 juta ton CO2 ekuivalen. Selisihnya 1.168 juta ton CO2 ekuivalen. Darurat bukan sih? Terus soal batu bara juga segera ambil tindakan nyata, Pak. Solusinya sudah kelihatan jelas, yaitu energi terbarukan. Tinggal action more aja. PLTU yang udah tua dipensiunkan atau subsidinya diturunkan. Bisa juga digantikan EBT pelan-pelan atau pajak batu bara dinaikkan. Banyak solusi kok. Ketiga, sektor pendanaan iklim. Pendanaan iklim harus sesuai dengan sasaran iklim. Investasi dalam energi hijau dan infrastrukturnya juga harus lebih besar daripada investasi bahan bakar fosil dan batu bara. Dan satu lagi, persoalan pajak dan perdagangan karbon. Saya sangat berharap pemerintah segera terbitkan regulasi yang jelas untuk sektor ini karena peluangnya begitu besar. Saya juga ingin mengapresiasi kepada negara anggota G20 yang sejauh ini sudah bertindak nyata pada komitmennya di COP26. Saya sangat optimis kepada negara anggota G20. Kalau kita semua kompak beraksi nyata, saya yakin bumi kita ini akan membaik. Harapan saya sebagai anak muda yang pertama kepada pemerintah Indonesia agar meningkatkan ambisi dan aksi nyatanya. Salah satunya dengan memperbarui NDC-nya yang lebih sesuai dengan target emisi global. Percayalah Pak, dunia ini makin panas. Coba sesekali Bapak keluar kantor jam 12 siang jalan kaki, supaya radar empati Bapak Ibu ini makin luas. G20 masih akan berlangsung sampai November nanti. Jadi masih banyak waktu Pak. Omnibus Law aja 167 hari bisa jadi Pak. Jadi jangan mau kalah dong. Tuan rumah harus bisa menjadi contoh agar tamunya juga ikut-ikutan insya Allah. Secondly, to all participants in G20, all government leaders, please allow me to honorably remind you to remember our commitment and to do more in education, mitigation, and also climate finance. G20 perlu memperbarui target NDC untuk mencerminkan ambisi setinggi mungkin. Kita tidak bisa bergerak sendiri, harus saling bahu-membahu. Kita tahu ini tidak mudah, tapi inilah yang bisa kita perjuangkan untuk anak cucu kita. Semoga G20 bisa memberikan contoh, G20 bisa memimpin dunia dalam bekerja sama mengatasi perubahan iklim dan mengelola lingkungan secara berkelanjutan dengan tindakan nyata. Bravo G20!
Dr. Amanda, you may have the floor.
Incredible, Gustami. Congratulations. And you were able to put all the comprehensive information in 4 minutes. When we talk about climate change, we usually start with the science, the impact, the solutions, and then the actions. And you covered all those. You mentioned about the problems, you mentioned about facts and calculations, and also solutions. So that's amazing because you were able also to show lessons learned from the crisis solved by G20. So if the financial crisis could be solved, we are hopeful that the climate crisis could also be solved because we will be facing crisis after crisis after crisis. And also there is a reason to hope and ways to take action, but we don't gloss over the challenges constantly. Again, congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Amanda. Ladies and gentlemen, now let us hear a few words from our grand prize winner, Gustami Sutioso. Gustami Sutioso, you are here with us, and now the floor is yours.
Halo semuanya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera buat kita semua. Mohon maaf saya harus memakai bahasa ya, ini kebetulan English saya nggak terlalu bagus, jadi takut nggak mafhum, mending kita pakai bahasa Indonesia. Yang pertama saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih banyak kepada seluruh entitas yang sudah menyelenggarakan lomba ini dengan penuh ketulusan. Saya rasakan benar-benar penuh keseriusan. Terima kasih banyak kepada seluruh peserta juga yang sudah berpartisipasi. Saya yakin dengan adanya lomba ini, dengan begitu banyak yang berpartisipasi, ini akan lebih banyak bikin generasi muda kita sadar terhadap isu iklim ini. Dan yang kedua, saya mohon maaf apabila dalam video saya ada kesan satir yang mungkin kurang pantas untuk didengarkan beberapa kalangan. Saya menyampaikan dengan bahasa anak muda, jadi semoga bisa sampai ke hati anak muda juga seperti itu. Dan yang ketiga, saya ingin mengajak bahwa momen ini bukan terakhirnya ya. Artinya kita sebaiknya enggak harus terpacu kepada lomba, tapi semoga kita bisa bertemu di kesempatan lain, bertemu di kegiatan-kegiatan lainnya, baik itu antar kita atau beda orang di ruangan Zoom ini, yang tentunya terlibat dengan isu perubahan iklim ini, yang ini sangat menjadi momen perjuangan yang benar-benar pantas diperjuangkan menurut saya seperti itu. Karena Indonesia ini, mohon maaf, lumayan ketinggalan gitu. Kalau saya riset kemarin tuh, kata Dr. Amanda, saya bisa menyampaikan dalam 4 menit. Ya itu karena risetnya sangat lama gitu. Pengambilan videonya cuma 1 hari, tapi risetnya kayaknya sampai semingguan ada gitu. Jadi saya harap kita semua bisa tetap terhimpun, dan semoga FPCI dan juga lembaga-lembaga lain makin banyak memberikan kita wadah untuk speak up lagi tentang ini, seperti itu. Terima kasih buat semuanya, salam kenal juga, bisa kita lanjut di Instagram ya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Gustami Sutioso. Congratulations once again. We enjoyed your video. Now, before we end our ceremony today, let us please welcome Dr. Amanda Katiliniode once again to give a closing remark. Over to you, Dr. Amanda.
Thank you so much. I was asked to close and also to talk a bit about call to action. And I will talk about this based on my experience as the Director of Climate Reality Indonesia. It is part of a global organization founded and chaired by Al Gore, the former Vice President of the United States. We have 42,000 climate reality leaders, volunteers in 174 countries, and their age range is 14 to 87 years old. It shows that anybody can address the climate crisis. And in Indonesia, right now, we have 1,000 climate reality leaders, and half of them, 50% of them, is the younger generation, less than 25 years old. You may remember a few years ago when there was the Youth Climate Summit in New York, the UN Secretary General became the keynote listener. He's usually the keynote speaker, but at that time, he was the keynote listener. So it's time for decision makers, for world leaders, G20 leaders, to listen to young generation. I would like to refer to Article 12 of the Paris Agreement, which is called Action for Climate Empowerment. That article says that to empower all members of society to engage in climate action, we do it through education, training, public awareness, public participation in decision-making, public access to information, and international cooperation. We have all those in this event in the Dear G20 Leaders, but please do not overlook climate feelings. We've heard about climate anxiety, about how young children were stressed out because of the climate situation, disasters. We have to give space for climate anxiety. Now, on the call to action, what are we going to do with the 220 plus video clips that were researched so wholeheartedly by you all? You shot the videos and you edited it. So we have to show all those videos to all stakeholders, including state actors, government people, and non-state actors, business people, academicians, interest groups, women, and children. Lastly, it is important to know that you cannot give what you do not have. Perhaps you've heard about this. How are you going to take care of the earth? How are you going to protect the environment if you do not care about yourself? So self-care is very important. I would like to encourage you to look into yourself, your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit. Are you leading a healthy life? Are you doing enough exercise? You have less stress, or you manage your stress? So there are many things that you could do. But it is also important that in fighting the climate crisis, you have to join with others, like the FPCI, for example, or the climate reality. You cannot work by yourself. Joint forces will give positive results. Thank you. Congratulations again for all ambassadors, Jenkin, Ambassador Dino Patijalal, Esther, Jenny, and all the entries for the climate video competition. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Amanda, for your wonderful message. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now have a question and answer session for the public and for press who has any questions. If you have any questions, please raise your hand here in the Zoom, or you can also write your question in the Zoom chat. Or for those who are joining from our YouTube live stream, you can also ask questions through the chat box there. And you can direct the questions to FPCI or to the UK Embassy, to Dr. Amanda, or to the winners as well. Or if you have any comments, you may please feel free to use the chat box or raise your hand through the raise hand feature. Please, ladies and gentlemen, we'll wait for your questions or comments. Okay, so we already received a question from the YouTube chat box from Rifki Hardian kepada Constanza. Yes, this is directed to Constanza, or one of the winners. Setelah mengikuti kompetisi ini, apakah kamu memiliki cita-cita yang sejalan dengan semangat merubah perubahan iklim? Okay, Constanza, we see you here. You may have the floor to answer the question.
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course. Yes. The answer is yes. Okay.
Yes.
So what do you want to be when you grow up, Constanza?
A teacher.
A teacher. You're going to teach climate change?
Yes.
Or you have, wow, that's amazing. Then we hope you can be a good teacher teaching climate change and raising awareness to the public, just like what you did in the video. Thank you, Constanza.
You're welcome.
Now we're still opening the floor for any comments or questions. Okay, we got it now from Liputan 6. Yes, from Tommy. Hello, I would like to ask Gustomi about his educational background, and I think his comment on the speed of omnibus law creation and the making of climate regulation. Could he elaborate again on that? Okay, so Gustomi. So the question is about your tentang latar belakang education, pendidikan kamu, Gustomi, dan juga komen Anda terhadap omnibus law, ya, UU omnibus ya, dan juga the making of the climate regulation, regulasi climate. Silakan, boleh jelaskan.
Baik, saya izin memperkenalkan diri. Nama saya Gustomi Sutioso. Saya dari Universitas Islam Negeri UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta, jurusan Komunikasi Penyiaran Islam. Sebelumnya di video saya yang saya publis ini menyambungkan tentang Omnibus Law dengan NDC seperti itu. Karena yang saya amati, yang sempat menjadi gaduh kemarin, undang-undang yang berkaitan dengan impact banyak orang, Omnibus Law itu hanya bisa loh diterbitkan secara cepat gitu, mulai dari ideasi sampai persetujuan dan sampai benar-benar disetujui itu bisa cepat. Nah, saya kira ini juga bisa diterapkan di sektor lain, termasuk di perubahan iklim ini ya, apalagi ini lebih darurat gitu. Omnibus Law aja bisa 167 hari gitu ya, apalagi NDC. Bahkan NDC ini kan yang sependek yang saya tahu ya, tidak ada yang membatasi seperti itu, regulasinya harus minimal berapa hari, segala macam kayak gitu tuh, transparansi datanya masih kurang. Jadi saya menyimpulkan kalau NDC ini sebenarnya bisa dipercepat seperti itu, apalagi mengingat saya sempat riset membaca salah satu peneliti dari ISR itu bahwa Indonesia sebenarnya mampu gitu, lebih dari 29%. Karena mengingat sumber daya alam kita banyak gitu. Jadi kalau Omnibus Law aja bisa, seharusnya NDC kita yang lebih sesuai dengan target emisi global ini bisa juga dong gitu. Kira-kira seperti itu. Semoga cukup menjawab ya, Mas Tommy.
Baik, terima kasih Gustomi. Thank you Gustomi, and also thank you Tommy from Liputan 6 for the question. Now we already received another question, which will be our last question for this question and answer session, from as well as from YouTube chat box again. It's from Ricky Ardian. Okay, Ricky Ardian ya. Kepada Ibu Amanda, apa masukan Ibu untuk pemerintah Indonesia agar dapat mencapai net zero 2050? Apakah pertanyaannya sudah jelas, Dr. Amanda?
Ya, sudah jelas.
Silakan Ibu.
Masukan-masukan itu sebagaimana tadi beberapa kali saya sebutkan itu ada dari state actors dan non-state actors. Dan pada Paris Agreement sudah diakui peranan dari non-state actors atau non-pemerintah. Karena tidak mungkin pemerintah bisa melakukannya sendiri. Tetapi memang dalam menyikapi perubahan iklim ada beberapa langkah. Yang pertama tentunya apa yang dilakukan individu. Oh, I'm sorry, do I have to speak in English? Tadi pertanyaannya bahasa
No,
Indonesia.
it's okay. It's okay, Dr.
Okay.
Amanda. Yes.
Oke. Tadi individu bisa melakukan apa, kemudian organisasi dan korporasi bisa melakukan apa, dan yang ketiga tentunya yang akan lebih besar perannya adalah apa yang akan dilakukan oleh pemerintah melalui kebijakan-kebijakan. Tapi sebagaimana kita ikuti selama ini, tentunya banyak yang ingin action itu lebih cepat lagi dilakukan. Meskipun cara-caranya, things to do sudah jelas, tetapi pelaksanaannya kadang belum seperti yang kita inginkan. Disinilah perannya non-state actors atau pelaku-pelaku non-negara. Nah, contohnya adalah video-video clips yang dibuat dalam kompetisi ini harus terus-menerus digaungkan. Kemudian juga FPCI membuat petition di change.org, saya salah satu penandatangannya juga, dan ternyata hal-hal seperti itu juga menjadi perhatian dari para pengambil keputusan. Saya dengar sendiri impact dari petisi-petisi seperti itu. Karenanya action sekecil apapun harus terus-menerus kita lakukan dan berkesinambungan. Mengapa? Pertanyaannya, mengapa sudah tahu masalahnya itu, tetapi kok lama gitu ya tindakannya. Sir David Attenborough mengatakan bahwa pemimpin dunia ini sekarang sangat lamban mengambil keputusan because they're not connected to nature. Jadi David Attenborough mengatakan mereka lepas gitu dari alam, mereka tidak terikat dengan alam sehingga lamban sekali keputusannya. Kemudian juga ada beberapa hal ini terkait dengan sikap atau sifat manusia. Yang pertama, manusia itu kan harus terus-menerus diingatkan. That's our job. Siapapun juga harus terus saling mengingatkan. Yang kedua, buat segalanya menjadi mudah. Bagaimana caranya kita mencapai net zero emission ini dengan langkah-langkah yang lebih mudah. Dan yang ketiga tentunya adalah tekanan-tekanan melalui regulation dan juga public pressure. Kalau cara-caranya sih secara teknis semuanya sudah ada dan banyak yang sudah melakukan kajian-kajian untuk ini.
Thank you, Dr. Amanda, for such an amazing comment. Very inspiring. Okay, due to the time constraint, ladies and gentlemen, the public questions and answer session is closed. With that, the Dear G20 Leaders ceremony has now come to a close. But before we end our meeting, let us take a virtual group photo shoot. So please turn on your camera, and if you haven't already, and smile, give your best pose. Okay, I'll count from 3, 2, 1. One more time. 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, congratulations to our top 21 finalists. Also, thank you to everybody who has tuned in via Zoom and also via YouTube. We hope you enjoyed the competition as much as we did, and stay safe. See you next time.
Thank you, everybody.
Perubahan iklim sudah tidak asing lagi bagi telinga kita. Bahkan PBB menyebutnya krisis iklim. Topik ini akan dibawakan oleh Indonesia di konferensi tingkat tinggi G20. Kenapa sedemikian penting? Karena krisis iklim dialami oleh semua negara.
COP26 is the most important milestone since 2015, when the Paris Agreement was created. It's an opportunity for the world to see what has been achieved and pay attention to what hasn't.
At the COP26 Climate Pact in Glasgow, one of which is the world's ambitions to limit in the increase in the Earth's temperature to 1.5 Celsius degrees.
This target is aimed to be achieved in 5 years. Now, fast forward to 6 years later, 2021. Guess what happened? The target failed.
Kamu bisa bayangkan, ada 197 negara yang duduk bersama. Kerja kelompok di sekolah saja, kadang hanya satu orang yang benar-benar bekerja, apalagi 197 orang.
Dear G20 leaders, let's prove our climate commitments in COP26 as not only targets but also our core purposes.
So why is climate issue important for G20? It is essential to consider the climate issue since G20 members account for 80% of the greenhouse gas emission.
The fate of the younger generation in the future depends on the political decisions you make now. It's the younger generation who will bear the consequences of the choices that you do or don't do.
If invincible virus makes you work together so quickly, why does the very visible climate hazard slows you down?
Your Excellencies, we poor and developing countries are the front line of the direct impact of climate disasters. There is CO2 that must be neutralized from the atmosphere, toxic air pollution, lack of clean water, lack of food security, loss of living species, and still polluted seas.
Adapun ini adalah wilayah pertanian yang bergantung pada kondisi cuaca. Tidak heran bahwa Global Climate Risk Index menempatkan Indonesia di posisi ke-14 negara paling rentan terhadap perubahan iklim.
Indonesia ditargetkan mencapai net zero pada tahun 2060. Namun, rencana yang dicantumkan hanya mencapai tahun 2050. Lantas, apa yang akan dilakukan Indonesia dari tahun 2050 hingga 2060?
Maka untuk mencapai target iklim tersebut, Indonesia sebagai Presiden G20 perlu memastikan kesiapan negara-negara, termasuk Indonesia sendiri dalam proses transisi energi dari energi primer batu bara menuju energi baru dan terbarukan sebagai langkah dari mitigasi perubahan iklim.
Salah satunya dengan memperbarui NDC-nya yang lebih sesuai dengan target emisi global. Percayalah Pak, dunia ini makin panas. Coba sesekali Bapak keluar kantor jam 12 siang jalan kaki, supaya radar empati Bapak Ibu ini makin luas.
All stakeholders and leaders must take part on this issue. So, there will be no more similar problem happens in the future.
Di tengah inovasi dan penemuan teknologi untuk membantu menyerap karbon dengan cepat, kita lupa kalau pohon juga bagian dari teknologi berbasis alam yang dapat membantu kita menyerap karbon secara alami. Indonesia punya keunikan sekaligus keistimewaan sebagai negara yang hutannya sangat luas.
Climate awareness and climate consciousness must be raised for us, young generation. The climate change subject must be implemented to curriculum at every level of education.
Dear G20 leaders, please go beyond politics. Start working for the people. Prioritize our collective survival instead of profits of the few.
Dear G20 leaders, adanya pertemuan seperti ini tentunya sangat baik untuk bisa memperkuat kerjasama dan saling bersinergi dalam menurunkan emisi karbon secara global dan juga mempercepat transisi ke penggunaan energi bersih.
Jika hal ini terjadi, sebagai presidensi G20 tahun 2022 dapat terbilang sukses. Hal ini memang tidak mudah, pastinya ini menjadi tantangan yang berat bagi Indonesia. Tapi kita harus optimis, Indonesia negara yang besar, Indonesia pasti bisa.
Pergi ke Jakarta membeli abon, padi merunduk jadi panutan. Ayo segera tekan emisi karbon dengan energi hijau ramah lingkungan.